Alrighty everybody, how is it going? This is my first video back since getting back from vacation. I was gone for about 5 weeks. I actually got back a few days ago, but just trying to get caught up on everything. And when I left, the market was choppy, and guess what? It really hasn't changed. It looks like it is still choppy as all get out, and it looks like I didn't miss a whole heck of a lot. I mean, just a whole bunch of positions I probably would have been chopped out of, so that wasn't such a bad time to be going on vacation. Looking at yesterday's price action, I thought for sure we were going to be breaking down. This is the QQQ, by the way, which is the ETF for the NASDAQ. It looked like for sure that we were going to be breaking down. And in fact, one of my Patreon members ended up buying the SQQQ, which of course is the triple inverted QQQ ETF. And I thought it was actually a pretty good move. I didn't get any myself because I'm still trying to get my bearings. It usually takes me about a week or so before I get a feel of the market after I've been gone for a bit. But man, this thing just turned around right away. You can see after breaking this support area, it was only below it for about half a day or so, and then it just exploded right back above it. And now it looks like we are headed towards that 8-period exponential moving average. So that is going to be the next layer of resistance. Hopefully the market can hold this bounce. I like when market rallies more than when they break down, and this thing has been so choppy. It's going to be pretty difficult for the Qs to get above this 50-period simple moving average, this blue line that I have on the chart, but that's what is going to be needed for this thing to hold up. It can't stay below that 50-period simple moving average for too long without eventually breaking down, if history is any judge. But QQQ having a massive reversal on some pretty decent volume, so that is good news. If we take a look at the spider, which of course is the S&P 500 ETF, you can see we've had a nice bullish hammer yesterday, and we are breaking above that 50-period simple moving average today. So the S&P 500 is looking a little bit better. It's just a little bit below that 8-period exponential moving line that we see right there at about 469.5. So it won't take a whole heck of a lot to get back above that, so that's a good sign for the S&P 500. And if we take a look at the diamonds, which is the Dow Jones ETF, we can see basically the same thing, printing another bullish hammer above the 50-period simple moving average and approaching that 8-period exponential moving average. So despite the market chopping around so bad, and I know if you're in some growth names, you've been getting hit harder than these averages, but despite, the markets getting chopped up like they are, I mean, they're honestly holding in pretty darn well, especially when you consider how bad some of the growth names have been getting hit. But if we take a look at the IWM, this is the one that I watch the most, and I thought for sure the IWM was going to be breaking down below this long support area that has been going on with the IWM for months and months and months, but it turned right back around, and now it looks like it could potentially be bouncing back up. It's still well below that 50-period simple moving average, which of course it found some resistance on this last bounce up, and it's usually a pretty tough average to get above once you've had a nice long bounce into it, but hopefully the IWM can get above it. But in the market right now, it looks like the two strongest sectors that I'm seeing since I got back are energy and the financials. And if we take a look at XLE first, which of course is the energy ETF, we can see that the energy sector is breaking out to a new 52-week high. So even though it has been pulling back along with most of the market, it held its own during this last pullback in the market, so that was showing it had some relative strength. And now that we're getting a little bit of a bounce up in the market, this thing is blasting off into new highs. And of course, when you're in an environment where we are having higher inflation and rates rising, usually energy and banking does well in those environments, and I would expect that to continue for at least the first half of 2022. So these are the two sectors I'm probably going to be watching the most until something changes, either just to straight up own stocks in, or be trading the swings to the upside. But I think there's going to be a lot of potentially good trades in these two sectors. And if we look at the XLF, we can see that this one is also breaking out to a new 52-week high and is consolidating just barely above the breakout that it made a couple of days ago. So you can see the financial sector is performing very well. Let's take a look at the USO, which of course is the oil ETF. We can see the oil ETF is on the brink of breaking out to a new 52-week high as well. So if the USO can break out to a new 52-week high, of course that's not going to be good for prices at the pump. But if you're in the oil stocks, which I do have a couple of them, that spells a good environment for those stocks. But let's get into some of the other individual names that I like right now. All right, well, let's start off with the energy sector first, because I think that is a sector that is looking the most promising at the moment. And let's start off with Occidental Petroleum, because I actually got stopped in on a position with them today. I told myself I wasn't going to take any positions, at least for a few days, until I got the flow of how the market is moving. But some of these energy stocks were looking so promising in the pre-market. I actually put a couple of orders in to get buy stopped in if they broke some resistance, and I got stopped in on Occidental. So I actually closed out the other two orders before I got stopped in on those two. I don't want to take too much exposure without having a good feel of what's going on with the market. And so many stocks have just been getting chopped to bits. They usually don't run very far, so I don't want too much exposure right now until the market gives us some pretty clear direction. But I just got stopped in on Occidental at $33.83, and it is continuing to follow through so far. It's still really early, and this thing could turn around anytime, but I like the way that this chart is looking so far. Had a nice little blast up after this fake breakdown or false breakdown, whatever you want to call it, and it made a nice little consolidation, nice pennant formation on the 15-minute chart. And as you can see, we are breaking out today. So that is what I want to wait for in these type of markets, kind of wait for the market to confirm that it's going to be going. I don't want to anticipate anything with how much chop has been going around in this current market environment. So Occidental Petroleum is, approaching this resistance level. I am aware of this resistance level right around $35. I think I'm going to take a little bit off at $35 and hold on to the rest, because I do think the oil stocks do have a lot of potential to continue to move higher over the next coming weeks or so. So in case it doesn't, I am going to take a little bit off if it makes it all the way to 35, and it's actually almost there already. And, if it does continue to break out and, show a lot of strength, if it pulls back a little, I might just add that part of that position back. But Occidental is looking super good. Another one that is looking really good as well is WLL. You can see WLL is breaking out today. Just a really strong looking stock for Whiting Petroleum Corporation. And man, there's just so many great looking stocks in the sector. I'm only showing you a handful of the ones that I thought that looked the best, but another one that looks really good is PXD. We can see PXD is making a bit of a rounded bottom breakout, and it is breaking out today after holding a consolidation above the previous resistance level. So this one looks like it is following through. So PXD looks really good, and PXD has been a leader in this space, so I would expect that to continue. Another one that was looking good is VIST. You can see VIST might be one that I take another position in. This one looks super tempting at the moment. It's completing this rounded bottom formation, has broken above the all these moving averages, including that 50-period simple moving average. It is finding support at the white line, the 8-period exponential moving average, and it is now catapulted the price higher, and it is breaking out above this level right around, we could probably call this level right around 6 even, and it's right there. So if VIST can hold that breakout, I think this one has a great looking chart and has a nice possibility of continuing higher. And here are a couple other charts that I want to show you that really haven't broken out as of yet, but they look like they're on the cusp. And actually OVV looks like it could be breaking out a little bit as well. It's kind of right there, but OVV is a very strong stock, or very strong looking chart. Another one is NOG. You can see NOG looks like it is consolidating at this upper level as well. It is above all of these moving averages, and it looks like it wants to break above this resistance area right here, where it also, had support back in October and November. Call it about I don't know, call it about $23.15 or so. I think if NOG breaks above that, it's going to be a you know, a pretty decent opportunity to take a long in that stock. Another one I like is MRO. You can see MRO is actually breaking out as well. So you can see there's just a lot of strong stocks in this sector right now. Definitely in a lot. Some of them are in some pretty decent uptrends. And last one I want to show you is Calumet, CLMT. CLMT has broken above all of those moving averages and is now consolidating sideways. So CLMT is probably one that I am considering putting a buy stop in right above 1550 or so. Maybe I'll put it in at like 1556 because if this thing does end up breaking above this resistance area right around 1550 or so, it could be a nice strong breakout because this is a very nice looking chart at the moment. But let's get into some of those banking stocks. All right, so let's get into those banking stocks right now. But before I get into it, please remember, guys, I am not a financial advisor. None of this is trading advice. I'm just trying to show you the best looking sectors that I see in the market right now. I may or may not be trading these. I mean, I did take a position in Occidental Petroleum, which I told you that earlier. But as far as these other ones go, I may or may not be trading them. If you do want to know what we are trading, I do have a small trading group. The Patreon link is in the description. It's only $10 a month. So if you'd like to join our small trading community, you are always welcome. The link is down there. But let's get into the first one, and that is BMO, the Bank of Montreal. We can see the Bank of Montreal is breaking out at the moment. Just a very healthy looking chart. A nice little pullback down to that 200 period simple moving average. I'm getting a nice bounce all the way up through this resistance area right around $113 or so. You can see it had a nice bounce above the 8 period exponential moving average, cradled that moving average, and then rode it all the way up. That is what we want to see when a stock is breaking out. So BMO was looking really good, and there's a lot of strong stocks in these sectors, in this sector, guys. So I'm going to try to go through these quick so the video doesn't take too long. But next one is RY. You can see the Royal Bank of Canada, if it ever pops up, there we go, is just making a strong run up, a nice bounce off of that 200 period simple moving average after, you know, it just wrestled with it for a couple of weeks or so. It just exploded out of it. But some of these banking stocks just look super strong. And by the way, these strong ones are not stocks that I would ever chase. What I would want to do is buy pullbacks on these. And I really like to see these nice, strong blasts through resistance areas and, you know, just a continuation. I love buying pullbacks on those type of stocks that are showing a ton of strength, but I am not in the business of chasing these things. So if these ones that are going straight up pull back, that's when I'm going to look to potentially take a position in these. But another one is EWBC. You can see EWBC has been going straight up as well, and it has broken out to a new 52-week high as of yesterday. But right now it is struggling with that high. So this is one you definitely want to just keep an eye on. You don't want to be jumping in as it is struggling to make a new high, because that is a recipe for a pullback when a stock is doing that. But EWBC nonetheless definitely looks very strong. Next one is TD Bank, TD Ameritrade, Toronto Dominion, whatever you want to call them. They are looking super strong at the moment as well. Broke out on some pretty good volume. It consolidated for 3 days, and now it is breaking out again. So Toronto Dominion is one of those candidates where I would like to have watched this consolidation and put a buy stop right about here, and you know, just tried to play that breakout for a continuation move. And of course the stop would be below that 8 period exponential moving average. That's why I love these type of trades, because the risk is usually pretty low and the upside is theoretically unlimited, because you never know how high it's going to go, but usually the upside is much higher than the risk. But next one I want to get into is Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo having a really nice breakout. This one is definitely on my list for buying a potential pullback, just because this thing is breaking out and is breaking out on some really nice volume. So the chances of this move being a false move are low. There's no guarantee this thing is going to keep going, but when you see a nice strong breakout multiple days on big volume, I usually like to buy those pullbacks, because usually you'll get at least one more leg up in the short term, and that's what I'm going to be looking for on Wells Fargo. Next one is Bank of America. You can see Bank of America is breaking out to a new high, struggling a little bit to hold it, but it's still a nice breakout nonetheless. Next one is HSBC. See, HSBC is blasting off into the stratosphere, making a new 52-week high on some pretty nice volume as well. So you can see these are big players that are piling into these types of stock. This isn't guys like me that are coming in, you know, with a few hundred shares or so. These are guys that are coming in with huge buy orders, and that's what you want. You know, you want that tailwind. You want those institutional players to be jumping into a stock that you're looking to buy. Next one is USB. US Bank Corp. And we can see USB is about to make a new high. This one I would probably wait a little bit on because, you know, if we do get a little bit of weakness in the banking sector, I wouldn't expect this thing to break out. So this one is one I would just put on my watch list and, you know, try to get a pullback if it does end up breaking out. Next one is BPOP. Oops, let me get this crap out of here. My fingers are too fat. Next one is BPOP. Let's try that again. You can see BPOP is exploding through resistance on much heavier volume than it's usually been trading at. So this one is also one of those candidates that I don't want to chase, but if it does pull back to that 8-period exponential moving average, or maybe back to this old area of resistance, which becomes support right around 86.50 or so, that's where I would like to possibly take a position in this stock. And of course, can't talk about banks without JP Morgan. JP Morgan has not made it to a new high yet, but it is consolidating above that 8-period exponential moving average. And, you know, it is one of the bigger banks in the world and one of the better run banks in the world. So it's probably going to end up breaking through if this sector, you know, continues to stay strong. So JP Morgan should definitely be on the list. Some other ones that are kind of under the radar is CBSH. See, CBSH is completing a little bit of a rounded bottom. I mean, these are some banking stocks that, you know, they don't have a ton of volume. Probably a lot of people don't know about them, but they're picking up strength nonetheless. You can see CBSH forming that nice rounded bottom. It's breaking above this resistance area right around 71, and it looks like it is holding that resistance. So this one looks very tradable if it can continue to hold this breakout. Next one is Town. You can see Town is on the verge of breaking out to a new 52-week high, so this one is looking fantastic. It's been in a long consolidation for almost a year, so if this thing breaks out, I think there is a strong possibility it continues higher. Next one is SBNY. You can see Signature Bank is also breaking out to a new 52-week high, pulling back the last couple of days, but is staying above that 8-period exponential moving average. So if this one can break above 370, I think this one definitely looks tradable. And the last one is BHLB. See, BHLB is also breaking out. This one is also in a very nice long consolidation. In fact, if we go to the weekly chart, we can see this one has been in a very long consolidation and is having a nice clean breakout. So BHLB not only looks good on the daily, but it looks fantastic on the weekly chart as well. Well, that's all I have for this one, everybody. If you have any questions, please leave them for me down there in the comment section. I'll get to them as soon as I can. Thank you so much for watching my video all the way to the end, and until next time, take care, everybody.